Exploring Canada's Indigenous Cultures, a journey through time and tradition. Canada's Indigenous cultures are as rich and varied as the land they inhabit, stretching back thousands of years and spanning from coast to coast. These communities, each with their own language, traditions, and worldview, form the very bedrock of Canadian identity. However, much of this history remains unknown or misunderstood. Let's take a captivating journey into the heart of Indigenous Canada, exploring their vibrant heritage and how it continues to shape the modern landscape. The First Peoples, a history long before colonization. Long before European settlers arrived, Canada was home to over 600 distinct Indigenous nations, each with its own unique culture. The First Nations, Inuit and Métis, have called this land home for millennia, building complex societies that thrived off the natural environment. The Haudenosaunee, Iroquois Confederacy, for example, practiced sophisticated forms of governance that influenced modern democratic systems. Meanwhile, the Inuit in the Arctic survived in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, crafting innovative tools like the igloo and the kayak. Fascinating fact: the First Nations practiced sustainable hunting, fishing, and agriculture, often centered around the Three Sisters: corn, beans, and squash. These crops were planted together in a symbiotic relationship that supported soil health, showing a deep understanding of environmental stewardship. Sacred symbols and ceremonies keeping tradition alive. For many Indigenous communities, spirituality is deeply intertwined with nature. Sacred animals, plants, and even natural phenomena, like the sun or rivers, are revered as living spirits. The powwow, a gathering that celebrates culture through dance, drumming, and storytelling, remains one of the most vibrant expressions of Indigenous identity. Each dance, whether the grass dance or the fancy dance, tells a story rooted in the community's history and connection to the earth. Did you know? The eagle is considered a sacred bird in many Indigenous cultures. It's believed to be a messenger to the Creator, and eagle feathers are used in important ceremonies symbolizing courage and strength. Language, a rebirth of voices. One of the most powerful ways Indigenous cultures are being revitalized is through language preservation. There are over 70 Indigenous languages in Canada, many of which were endangered due to decades of forced assimilation policies, like residential schools. However, a cultural resurgence is underway, with many communities actively teaching their languages to younger generations. For example, the Anishinaabe language, Ojibwe, is experiencing a renaissance through digital tools, community classes, and even hip-hop music. This revival not only preserves language, but reconnects younger generations with their ancestral worldview and traditions. Modern impact. Indigenous languages offer perspectives that are deeply rooted in connection with the land. Many words in Cree or Inuktitut, for example, have no direct translation in English but convey complex ideas about relationships, community, and nature. Indigenous art, a canvas of history and identity. Indigenous art is another profound expression of culture. From intricate beadwork and textiles to breathtaking carvings and paintings, the Northwest Coast totem poles are perhaps the most recognized, telling the stories of families, ancestors, and legends through towering cedar structures. Today, Indigenous artists blend traditional techniques with modern themes, using art as a powerful tool for activism and cultural pride. Artists like Kent Monkman, a Cree painter and performance artist, challenge colonial narratives, bringing Indigenous stories into contemporary dialogue. Intriguing thought. Art in Indigenous cultures isn't just decoration. It often holds spiritual significance and is a method of storytelling passed down through generations. Moving forward, Indigenous rights and reconciliation. In recent years, Canada has been making strides toward reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, brought to light the painful legacy of residential schools, where many Indigenous children were stripped of their language and culture. The TRC's calls to action urge Canadians to support Indigenous-led efforts in education, health, and cultural preservation. Reconciliation isn't just about addressing past wrongs. It's about fostering a future where Indigenous cultures flourish alongside all of Canada's diversity. From land acknowledgements at events to Indigenous businesses thriving across the country, there's a growing recognition of the importance of these cultures in shaping the Canadian narrative. Final thought: a journey of respect and understanding. Canada's Indigenous cultures are not relics of the past, but thriving communities that continue to evolve. The resurgence of language, art, and ceremony is a testament to the resilience and strength of Indigenous peoples. As more Canadians embrace and learn about Indigenous cultures, they contribute to a future where these traditions aren't just remembered, but celebrated and respected. The next time you explore Canada, remember that every river, mountain, and forest has been cared for and revered by Indigenous peoples for millennia. Their stories, wisdom, and traditions continue to breathe life into the land and Canada itself. By taking the time to learn and appreciate this living history, we all become part of a brighter, more inclusive future. Like and subscribe to our channel for more.